Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic guest. It's a little late, but that's okay because we're here and we're going to do the thing. And before we start, please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Go check out the Fellowship of the Indies. 9 fantastic books by a bunch of different creators, at a great price. So go check it out. All right. It's on Kickstarter under the Fellowship of the Indies, and it's on Indiegogo as the Long Shots. So go check it out. I'll talk to you guys. And here we have our guest.
You need to hold those books back up again, brother.
Oh, yeah? You want to see those again?
Yeah, no, I want to see those again. I think everyone needs to see these again. Listen, right off the hop, there was a deal that gone really, really bad. And we're talking about a handful of creators, 9 books, guys, $25. I think it's like $15 shipping for me in Canada to get 9 gorgeous comic books that are not only like ready, these things are ready to go, right? Here's the thing about, crowdfunding comics, and it's a common sort of subject that gets brought up quite a bit, is late books, right? Or books that are halfway done that never kind of see fruition. What we're talking about here is 9 books printed, waiting to be shipped to people right now. There's absolutely no reason not to get on that deal, man. And not only because you're going to get great products in your hand, but because you're going to help undo some wrongs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm sorry. We had to start off that way, brother.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No worries, man.
Oh yeah, Larry, introduce yourself, because you just got Niobe up there. They're gonna be like this. They're gonna be like, this lady has a really deep voice.
You ever hear that Aerosmith song, "Dude Looks Like a Lady"?
There you go. Exactly.
No, listen. Actually, the icon that you're seeing is a gorgeous image by Paul Green and Ula Moss. Paul Green does a lot of work for Zenescope, Coffin Comics, aka Lady Death. Ula Moss, who did the coloring, is like a legend in this business. She's worked with J. Scott Campbell and Jimmy Tyndall and all the greats, essentially. So very, very lucky to have them. So I have to show this icon off everywhere I go. It's going to be our probably our #1 cover when we do our next Kickstarter for Outbreak. That's what it's for. I'll show you like the full image there a little later on, and it is gorgeous. But Paul Green is our #1 selling cover artist of all time. People just love his art style. He's got that sort of like Disney princess sort of style, like the same sort of style that you would see maybe through like a J. Scott Campbell.
Yep.
And it's just gorgeous. So that's why you're seeing the icon, because I have to show it off.
No, I got you.
I'm LP or Niobe or Larry or Rebel Comics. I've gone by a variety of names. I'm like Dean Malenko. I'm like the man of 1,001 names. You know what I'm saying? Like,
gotcha.
Armbar.
Damn, Dean Malenko. I haven't heard that man's name in forever.
Wow. He was the man of 1,001 holds. Is what it was.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then like Chris Jericho came out and with his list. You remember? Like, if you're an old school wrestling fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, I'm sorry to bore the crap out of you.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so Larry, let's get done.
Business, brother. Yeah.
Yes. So comic books. That's what we're here for. You're in for 10 campaigns at the moment, right? You're doing your latest campaign, Niobe. You're doing a graphic novel, awesome looking book.
Thank you.
So 10 campaigns in. What actually, you know what? No. I want to shoot that.
Do whatever you want to do, brother. I'm good.
Check it out. You did something very funny when I was on your show. You did something hilarious, and I want you to repeat.
Hilarious. Get it?
It was. Yes. Hilarious. Yes.
That's right.
You interviewed yourself for about 5 minutes. You asked yourself every pat question that every interviewer would ask you, right? Yeah. So I want you to repeat that performance for me if you can, because the reason I asked the reason I asked, because like Larry Strowman did the same thing, except he wrote it all out on Facebook one time, right? And the reason I ask is I don't want to ask you none of those fucking questions.
Well, here's the thing. I've done YouTube for a long time. I mean, I've
Right.
never gotten very popular with it, but I've done it for a long time, like since it
Mhm.
came out. Um, People really only know comic book broadcasting these days since the dawn of Comicsgate. Okay. But what people don't realize is that there was a whole community of YouTubers that were doing comic book YouTubing long
Mhm.
before 2017, and I was a part of it. So I've gotten very used to interviewing people. I gotten very used to talking. I gotten very used to the whole broadcasting sort of situation before everything sort of blew up in 2017/18. I was doing this in
Mhm.
2014. I
Nice.
was on programs like Key Issue Comics. I was doing Comic Book Fanatics. I was one of the founding members of the Comic Core. I've been on with a variety of guys. I talked, when we were off air, we were talking about New Yorkers. There's a group of
Mhm.
comic book guys called the New York Warriors. If you never heard of them, search them out. They know their shit, right? Uh, I've been involved with a lot of different people um, before the modern time, if you will, of
Mhm.
YouTube comic book broadcasting. So it is no problem for me to sit here and talk. I'll take over the entire show. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely could interview myself, but I mean, I'm a little bit hazy in the exact situation you're talking about. But
No, I got you. I got you. It was, dude. It was funny. It was funny as fuck. You were like, okay, so what's your favorite comic? And you were like, blah 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 blah. And it was just like,
what's
how
your
do you find
favorite
out your
comic?
stories? Blah 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 blah. It's just like it was just really really funny, bro. It really was. All right, so we'll go on with this, right? Like you've done these 10 campaigns, right? And you
Mhm.
and you showed a list, like from point one to where
Yeah,
you are now,
yeah,
as to how you've grown, right?
yeah.
Now, my question to you is obviously you've done that. Now, how do you continue that momentum going forward?
Well, you just follow the same formula that I guess that works, right?
Mhm.
The thing with us is that we really grew when we went to color,
Right.
and a lot of people will print in black and white, and we did for 5 issues straight.
Mhm.
But when we switched the artist, we also made a decision to go full color, and I knew it was going to be expensive as shit, and I didn't even know if I could afford it, because
Right.
previous to that, we were doing campaigns in around the $4,000 range Canadian. So
Mhm.
that's probably about 3 grand American.
Right.
It's not a lot of money, you know. And we were printing locally, and they were expensive as hell. And we were
Mhm.
shipping internationally, which is expensive as hell. But we're doing a superhero comic slash bad girl comic, and I think the only way it was really going to shine if it was in color. And we put out the call. We're like, we need a
Mhm.
colorist. We can't afford a whole lot, but if anyone's interested, sort of let us know. And I'll tell you, in the run of a 24-hour period, I've had 50 messages from people who were looking for work.
Nice.
And it came down to two guys, Russ Cassidy and Dan O'Vera. And
Mhm.
both of them, provided really great work. We ended up going with Dan. But we're working with Russ Cassidy now in a different sense. He's putting together our trade paperback as sort of the pre-press. So shout out to Russ Cassidy for that. You know what I mean? Getting us
Mhm.
ready to go to print, helping us like with the sizing of the pages and making the spine and doing the interior covers and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But when we went to color, and then we did Birthright #1, which is sort of like our reboot, if you will. That did 7 grand. Then we did Birthright #2, and this is where I was talking to you about having a Paul Green cover.
Right.
Because when we had a Paul Green cover on #1, and it did really,
Mhm.
really well. But when we put out the #2 cover, holy shit, JD, we did 16 grand Canadian, which is probably about 12 or 13 American.
Right.
And then we did Origins, and that did 24,000.
Nice.
We're doing the trade paperback right now. It's basically a reprint of all the new stuff. It's at
Mhm.
10 grand Canadian, so that's probably about 8 grand American, which is
Mhm.
not bad at all.
Nope.
And but a lot of it is, we went color and we changed the art team, and we brought on people to do variant covers that are names that some people would recognize. You know, people that work for Dynamite, people that work for Zenoscope, people that work for Lady Death. You know, people that have done work in the genre that Niobe is, which is essentially bad girl comic books.
Right. Nice. Now, I know you say you're fishing for a bunch of different artists. Now, I want to hear this. What is the most egregious price? I don't need to know the person's name. We don't need to go into that. What's the most egregious price you've ever been quoted, right? And then what is the most ridiculous price, like the cheapest price you've ever been quoted? Just like, dude, why are you even alive type of number?
So the cheapest price was free.
Oh, okay. Wait.
There are people that just volunteer to do covers for free. I've got messages from guys who are like trying to break in and just like, I just got to do this and I'm willing to do it for free. You know, I'll give you a name. Mark May was one of those guys. David Fott, rest in peace. He recently passed away. He was another one of those guys. You know, he said, I just want to do it, you know, and I'll do it for free. You know, and I paid him anyway, but he offered to do it for free. Right. So that's the cheapest. The most expensive that I've ever been quoted, I actually paid, which was about $1,000.
Okay.
That was for, you know, the drawing, and then, you know, the $300 to go to the colorist, and that was the team of Paul Green and Ula Moss.
Gotcha.
And I'll tell you, that $1,000 that I paid was worth it. And I paid everywhere in between.
Right.
And, you know, it depends on the artist. It depends on their popularity. It depends on their credibility, as in like who they've worked for in the past and, you know, built their name. You know, when you're dealing with Keith Garvey or Paul Green or say a John Royo or you know, some of these cats that have been around for a while, yeah, that comes with a slight premium because their fans are going to come to you, right? There are going to be people that came to Niobe for Paul Green that never read Niobe before, but wanted to buy, you know, one of the rarest Paul Green covers because we're small print run.
Right.
So that's a collector's item to them, right? And hopefully they read the book and they like what's inside and they come back for more. But yeah, we've that's the answer.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good. Yeah. I mean, listen, man, I have my bucket list, and it's pretty much one dude.
Who's bucket list is
one dude, Arthur Adams.
Yeah, well, listen, if you can nail Arthur Adams, then I think you hit the jackpot, because Art Adams was one of the guys that really got me into collecting comics. You know, I was reading comics before that, but in the sense of not really treating them like an investment or a collection, or, you know, it's kind of like you read Richie Rich or Archie and you throw them away, sort of stuff. Gotcha. But when I was about 12 or 13 years old and I first discovered the comic shop, one of the first covers I saw was an Art Adams cover. And I think it was like X-Men Heroes for Hope, you know, and I bought that, and I was hooked, you know, ever since.
Yeah, I was probably about 10 years ago. I was fishing around and I was talking to him. I think I was quoted. Well, no, I wasn't quoted. A friend of mine was quoted. Told me this, $3,500.
That I pay that though. like, listen, if I could get Art Adams and that's what I had to pay, I know, hands down, I can get an Art Adams Niobe. I can sell that in dividends. That is expensive. Listen, that's not the most expensive I've ever heard. Try hiring J. Scott Campbell and see what you're going to pay.
Yeah, I've heard that. Number
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you got to remember. I mean, I heard that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So if they told me it was 5 or 6 now, I wouldn't be that surprised.
You know what? Listen, I was shocked when you said 35. I was expecting a higher number.
Yeah. I mean, it could be well today that it is. And the thing is and that included the original.
Well, that's a fucking deal then, because you can sell that original for $1,000, $2,000 easy, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, the reason why some artists give me the break that they do is because they are keeping the original. I just need the digital for the comic, right? Sometimes I get the original, but a lot of times I don't, and they just turn around and they sell that. You know, Paul Green is one of those guys that will do that. He'll, you know, once a month, twice a month, he'll run something on his Facebook and he's selling originals, and you know, and they go for $300, $400, $500, $600 depending on what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the art, you could probably get 10K for his piece.
Oh yeah,
For the original. I mean, yeah.
imagine having like say like an original Alex Ross piece or something.
Yeah. Nice.
This is what we're talking about, you know.
Yeah. What's funny is I think Alex is like 10,000.
Yeah.
Last I heard, but that's not with the original.
Yeah,
That's just because I think his originals go for like friggin' 40 or 50.
You know, I've been blessed to work with a lot of great guys, you know, and some of them have been bucket list guys, and I'm not done yet, you know. The dream list bucket list guy of all time would be, you know, Jay Scott, you know. Another bucket list guy, but he's no longer with us, would be a guy like Michael Turner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
You imagine his Niobe, that'd be off the chart, you know.
Yeah.
Joseph Michael Linzer would be another bucket list guy for me. You know, R. Adams would be another bucket list guy for me. You can go through the names of like the Image founders. I mean, who wouldn't want, you know, a Todd McFarlane piece or a Jim Lee piece or something? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you might be able to get Linzer. Linzer's pretty approachable. He's a nice dude.
Don't. I'm trying. Don't worry. I'm kind of determined on that one. I know a couple connections in there, you know.
Gotcha.
But I've been trying for a couple of years. You know, Jamie Tyndall's another guy I want. I've been trying for that for a while. He's done a couple of personal pieces for me, so I'm going to actually try and get him to do something official. But he does a lot of stuff with like White Widow and Miss Meow right now. You know, he's like personally involved with those projects, so I don't know if I can even score the time. You know,
right. No, I got you. You got to snatch Joe. He must do like we'll get friggin' 15 covers a month for Dynamite.
And I collect them all. You know, I'm a big Red Sonja fan. And my comic shop knows to give me every Joseph Michael Linzer cover.
Nice.
They just put them in my file. Yeah.
You just got to go to a show to have your stack with you. So, yo, bro, sign that, and yo, how much for a cover?
Right. I don't get to do any shows. You know, I live in like nowhere, Canada. There's like one show here a year, which I'm banned from. So, you know, I don't get to do much in the way of conventions. I would love to, though.
Gosh. Now, what was this was probably one of the questions you answered while you were interviewing yourself, but I got to ask it anyway.
Sure.
What was the genesis of Niobe? Like, where did you come up with her? Like, what were you thinking? Like, what was
16 years old, brother. 1990.
Nice.
Metallica, you know, was on the verge of putting out the Black Album. Guns N' Roses had just done Appetite of Destruction and Lies. Iron Maiden was a huge hit. You know, The Simpsons were on fire. Anime was at an all-time high. And in anime, there were lots of girls with pigtails. Okay. Not only was anime at an all-time high, but so were the X-Men. And so was a young guy named Larry Higgins who was role-playing Dungeons and Dragons. And in doing such came other games such as Heroes Unlimited, which was tabletop RPG, but as superheroes. Niobe. That's right, brother. That's such an inside joke. Listen, she was an RPG character I made for a superhero game.
Cool.
A teleporter, rock star, you know, and she was influenced by many things. She was influenced by anime. She was influenced by Magic of the X-Men. She was influenced by Dazzler of the X-Men. She was influenced by Gemma and the Holograms. You take all these things and you can see them all when you look at Niobe. Like if you look at 70s Dazzler, you see Niobe with the face paint. If you look at Gemma and the Holograms, you see that. If you look at 90s anime, late 80s anime, every girl had long pigtails, you know, funky hair color, right? It's all there, man. You know, J-pop star. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Were you a Bubblegum Crisis fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, listen. It was like Bubblegum Crisis. It was like Dominion Tank Police. It was Burn Up W. It was Record of the Lotus War. It was like Ghost in the Shell. It was Appleseed. You know, it was. You know. You have to mention the Granddaddy, Granddaddy Akira, of course, but there was also like Gunbuster. You know, there was tons of stuff, brother.
No, I know, I was there.
I was one of the guys that would put like 2 VCR tapes together and we would dub each other's anime. You know, like that's how old school shit we were. You know what I mean? Like, and I still got like a box of like 8-hour animes, you know, in the shed somewhere. You know.
Right. Nice.
I mean, I don't know if they would work anymore, but they're out there, rotting away.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, dude, when I started watching anime, we had a place out here called Tokyo Video, right? So we would go
Sure.
up there. You could rent anime, but there was no subtitles, no dubbing,
Oh,
just raw.
yeah.
You just
Well,
watched it
here's the
raw.
thing. That relates to comic books. So if you're able to read a comic book, the art should be able to tell the story, right? Even without dialogue, if the art is good enough, you should be able to follow along and know
Mhm.
what's happening. I mean, that's how Jim Lee learned English. He
Yeah.
came from what was it, Korea,
Yeah.
and he learned English by reading comic books, dude.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what great
First,
art does.
first time I saw Akira, man, no words, no subtitles, no dubbing, nothing, and it was incredible. And
Yeah.
then what's funny is when I saw it, they had done a dubbing like in the early 90s, 91, 92 or whatever. And I went to the theater to go see it, and it
Yeah.
was the most traumatic thing ever happened. The dubbing was horrendous,
Yeah.
terrible.
I like subtitles for anime.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten really, because I watched anime early on, I got really used to subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like dub, and some dub is good, especially if you don't want to pay attention to it. Because if you're doing subtitles, you really have to watch it,
Yeah.
But I prefer subtitles. I'm with you, man.
No, I got you, man. What's funny is I only recently watched Akira again, probably about 2 or 3 years ago.
The animation still holds up. Holy fuck, does it still hold up? That was so incredible at the time. And you watch it now and you go, why can't it still be like this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you seen a movie called Redline?
No.
If you can peep it, go watch it. You might like it. I forgot the name of the company. It might have been Gainax. Was it Gainax? But they nearly went out of business making this movie because the whole thing is done hand animated style.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funky as fuck. I
Yeah,
think
that's
you'll
one thing
enjoy it.
that people don't even know about Akira is that it was all hand animated, and
Yeah. Mhm.
just the amount of detail that was in there, it's still mind blowing to listen. There's a reason why it's called the King of Anime.
Yep. Mhm. The only person that comes close to him is Miyazaki. You watch like, Porco Rosso just for the airplanes. You're like, what the fuck? And in stuff like Nausicaa and Princess Mononoke and those movies, and you're just like,
Princess
just
Mononoke is probably the only one I'm familiar with out of the list that you just said, but I hear what you're saying though. In regards to Niobe's conception, if you will, she started out as a role-playing game character, but I would draw her a lot. Very, very, very poorly, mind you, because I'm not an artist. Okay.
right.
In fact, I was showing them off on a stream the other night. I was showing some of the old Niobe drawings, and I was always big into going to conventions, especially in my RPG days in the 90s. There was lots of conventions, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, all that sort of stuff. And then it kind of disappeared for a while. And then what happened was conventions started to happen in my area around 2011. And I would go to these comic book conventions and I would bring my poorly drawn binder full of Niobe artwork to these conventions. And then I discovered this place, JD. It was called Artist Alley.
Nice.
And here they were,
Your people.
my people, right? Tables full of artists who are willing to draw stuff for money. What?
Mhm.
And not only, here was the thing. I thought they would only draw, stuff from the big two kind of thing, right?
Right.
I, had no idea if they would draw other people's original characters for legal reasons.
Mm.
And, and I've had this happen with a couple of artists. I can't draw your character because you might reproduce it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I've had that said to me, but for the most part, they would draw it and it shocked the shit out of me. So I got, lots of cool artists from, everywhere from a big name to a no name and everywhere in between draw Niobe. And she just looks so cool. And so I'm like, I got to make this into a comic book, and, I can't draw it, but I will certainly write it. And so I wrote a script. And in 2014, I went to my local con and I hit up basically every artist with the script. I'm like, I got a comic book. I'm not like just talking shit. Here's a script. I just need someone who can draw. Can you draw sequential art? You know what I mean? And I found a guy who was willing to do it. And I found another guy who was willing to like, do the cover and do some like shading for the black and white, like gray tones.
Right.
And we put together the first Niobe, and then that was 2014. It came out in 15, and that's how it started.
Nice. So I mean, the thing you said that's funny is that I find it unusual that a comic book artist would tell you they don't want to illustrate, draw something because you might reproduce it. Because my first words would be like, why the fuck do you think I'm here?
No, right? It was like making money off of their artwork, right? So it'd be like someone would draw me, what they think is a personal piece, and then I go ahead and scan it, color it, or whatever, and then I put it on the cover.
Right. Yeah, it's still, it's funny because most of the comic book artists I've met, like there's an innate understanding that if they draw something for you, that you're going to use it, or at least that's what I always tell them is, if you're going to draw it for me, I'm going to use it. So,
well, I mean, that's actually wrong, right? The conception is, if you go down Artist Alley and you get people to draw for you, it is supposed to be basically a personal piece for you and for you only. You don't actually have the print rights to it.
Well, okay, that's fair, because I guess everyone I contact's always been online, and I guess the understanding was always that it was for print, especially after I sent out a contract. So then they understand.
My understanding is actually kind of the opposite, right? If I wanted to print it, I would need to have their permission to do so, and then there might be an extra fee involved with that,
Right. What is it? I think it's time Larry starts working on Niobe animated short.
Listen, I would love to. Someone needs to hit me up with that. Eon Flux. Well, listen, I love the Eon Flux. So what a great show Eon Flux was. There was a time in MTV that was sort of like untouchable, and that Eon Flux era was it,
Yep. Spawn, Eon Flux, and the Max. Liquid TV.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's it, brother.
Yeah, man, that stuff is incredible. What is your through line for Niobe?
My what?
Your through line.
What does that mean?
All right, I'll give you an example, right? For Oswald, my story, right? I got two of them, right? So it's basically his basic through line. The most basic one is the smallest creature can make the greatest impact. Okay, so that's the basic through line, right? Damn, I forgot the name of the movie. It's not A Streetcar Named Desire. I forgot. It's a movie with Jack Nicholson. Very famous film, one of his earlier ones, out in California. And the through line with the movie was, just how urban encroachment is destroying like nature or whatever. So
you mean like a theme?
Basically, you might, that's probably the easiest way to break it down. I went to film school, so they call it a through line.
Yeah, it's a theme. See, that's hard to answer because every time I do a story, it's so different, right? Like say Niobe #1, the very first one was actually about teen suicide and depression. Like it was a social issue. I took a course. It was a 10-week course online. It was about social issue in comics. And this was, right around that time. So it was very, I'm going to take these modern day problems. I'm going to put them in my comic, and I'm going to give people a different way to think about it. And then I would switch to, I'm just straight up writing a superhero story. And there's nothing to it at all, but, what it's supposed to be, right? When I did Birthright 1 and 2, which is probably the best story I've ever did, was about abortion. And this is what people don't, they never read it, they won't know. But in my world, a mutant basically is called a genome. It stands for a genetic anomaly. There was a woman who was having a baby, and they could see in the ultrasound it had wings. Clearly, a genome. And the mother of this woman was religiously fanatic to the point of like, this is a sin. You know what I mean? And you need to abort. And she wasn't sure what she wanted to do. And this news sort of leaked out on social media, and it caused a huge protest in front of her house. and Niobe showed up to kind of protect the mother, and Niobe was kind of like pro-choice, and this angelic character shows up and she's like pro-life, you know.
Mhm.
And so there was that whole theme, but it depends on the book, right?
Right.
So in Origins, which was just Niobe's origin story, there really was no theme other than here's a young girl just getting the fucking shit kicked out of her. You know what I mean? Finding out who she is, like it varies from book to book. But there is no underlying theme. I just sort of do what I, is ongoing at the time, I guess, like I'm doing a book called Outbreak. Obviously the theme is going to be how COVID affected us and changed our lives. In Outbreak, it's a 4-part miniseries, and it's my take on the virus. It's a different virus, and it has different effects, but there's going to be lots of undertone that is going to be very relatable to the lives we've led for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Cool, nice. Does that tie in with is that a Niobe story you're doing, or is that like a whole different project?
No,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Let me show you some stuff, brother. Show some goodies. You know what I mean? My desktop is so messy. Hold on. Niobe Outbreak covers. Here I'll show you. Basically, the image we're going to lead in with when we do the campaign, and if this, I think this image just says it all. Let me show you. Here, boom, boom, boom. We have the technology. We can share it.
Nice.
And the first thing you see is her wearing a mask. You know what I mean? This is done by Keith Garvey, Zenescope legend. Just a beautiful piece.
It's gorgeous.
And we're going to lead out Outbreak with this, and again, this is my take on the life we've had. We're forced to live for the last 2 years, including isolation, social distancing, having the mask up, vaccinations, the whole nine, And here's the thing, though, and people are going to say there shouldn't be politics or sort of social commentary in comic books, and I say the exact opposite. But what I do say is that when you read a comic book, you shouldn't be able to read a comic book and have it be a pamphlet for activism one way or the other, right? Whether you're conservative or whether you're a Democrat, you should be able to read a comic book in much of the way that I would say Chris Claremont wrote the X-Men. He's presented a lot of different social issues throughout the years in his long tenure with the X-Men. But the thing was, they always made you sort of think, and it didn't preach to you one way or the other. They just presented an issue and a social situation, and they kind of left you to sort of, ponder upon that.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. That's what we did with Birthright. That's what we're going to do with this next book. This is a beautiful piece here by Chris Williams. Completely different style than we've ever done with Niobe. But it looks so cool. It looks so badass. It looks so cyberpunk. That's kind of like the look we're going for. There, I'll show you a couple more. This is Courtney Rose Dameron. Beautiful colors by Dan O'Vera. Love how he's done like the reflective jacket, that sort of stuff. That's going to look gorgeous as a foil. We're going to do that as a foil cover. This here is done by Eduardo Garcia, who's an interior artist for Zenescope. He's done like lots of work on like books like Robin Hood and stuff like that. This is by our interior. If you're an old school 80s heavy metal fan, this is an homage to Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time. Done by our interior artist, Juan Antonio, This is by Sean Fournier, who's done a lot of work for Dynamite Comics, Vampirilla, Red Sonja, that sort of stuff.
Nice.
This is done by Mark May. He was one of the guys that said, I just got to do something for free. You know what I mean? Sure, brother. Do us a cover. We'll put it out.
Yeah.
This is our newest villain, Cinder. This is done by Max DeVille's artist, Fern Cord from Mary Machine Gun.
Cool.
She's, no pun intended, she's going to light it up. It's going to be fire. You know what I mean? She shows up in Outbreak. It's going to be awesome. Different versions of the process. This is done by R.B. White, who's been with us since 2016. He's done work in Heavy Metal, Zenoscope, Dynamite. Again, you name it, he's been there.
Right.
This was the image I was telling you about. This is done by Paul Green and Ula Moss. This is probably going to sell a lot of comic books, GD. You know what I mean?
Looks it, yeah.
It's gorgeous. All the colors are there. Ula Moss is a beast. Paul Green has such a huge fan base. That we gone through about 3 different variations of this cover before we kind of settled on it. And think about this. Paul Green submitted to me the first cover, and I didn't like it. I'm like, no, we can't do this. He's like, what do you mean? I just kind of do what I want. And I'm like, not with Niobe. And here I am, buckfuck nobody, telling this upper tier artist that his work is good enough. And then we came up with this. And then once this was done, he was like, you were totally right. I'm like,
there you go.
He never settle. And this is sort of what I want to say to new creators out there. Never settle. If something doesn't look right to you, if it doesn't fit your vision, say so. You know what I mean? Because this is your one shot out there to impress people. If you think that the artist isn't holding up to their level that they can do, push them. Nudge them a little bit. Yeah, you might anger them a little bit. You might insult them a little bit, but ultimately you're going to get a better piece, and in the end, everyone's going to be happy. He really loves this, and I love this piece too, man. I know he's selling the original, and it's going to be like $500-600. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And here's the other thing. Here's what black and white and color does. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's a huge difference.
Right. When he first showed me this, I'm like, oh, okay, that looks okay. I was still iffy on it, but when then Ula Moss turned this in, I'm like, fuck. All right, no, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like, that's money.
Justin Hunt, Lady Death artist right here. Look at this. It's badass. This is totally nice. Dude. So this is what's coming up. I mean, this is not even what we're kickstarting yet. This is what's next. You know what I mean? But I'm excited for what's next.
No, it looks incredible. Now, one of the things I want to ask you is you've been involved with Antarctic for about 8 months now, 9 months?
Yeah, well, it's been a year. Their books are a little late, but I started off in an anthology called Exciting Comics, which is an anthology series of different sort of superhero comics they sort of throw together. And so we're in Exciting Comics 17 to 20. 20 hasn't even come out yet, but 17 to 19 have. So 20 is the last one. And by the way, it features a gorgeous cover by Matt Weldon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if you know Matt Weldon, he does work for Punchline, Antarctic Press. He's done a few different covers for Niobe. It's a beautiful cover of our Angelic character Ariel that will actually grace that cover. And I want to give a big thank you to Antarctic Press, and in particular Mr. Ben Dunn for bringing us aboard, because if it wasn't for Ben Dunn's push, we never would have been in there. Ben Dunn was the guy who said, I think we should print him,
Right.
And then we're also printing Niobe Origins as a one-shot through them. So it's not even through the anthology. It'd be the 40-page one-shot, and that's coming out like next month. But with that being said, it's going to be a while again before you see us with them, because they only take projects that are completed, right? So if I was to do it like another one-shot, they would take it. But the fact is I'm doing a 4-part miniseries, and they won't take the miniseries until all 4 parts are done. Well, that's going to be 1.5 to 2 years.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
No, yes, I do.
So as cool as it is to be with them, it's going to be a little while before we're printing through them again. And I get it. They don't want to take on a project that fails halfway through, right?
Right.
I understand that. It kind of sucks because I feel like we were just starting to get momentum, but because I decided, and it's my fault, that I want to do like my big thing, and my big thing is is a 4-part miniseries. I've never done that yet. I've done 2 parts. I've done one-shots, but I want to do a 4-part endeavor,
Right.
And if that means sacrificing getting, published for a little bit, cool. I'm because I know it's going to be so awesome. It's going to be worth it. Like, we're already starting on pages for issue 1. You know, they actually started this weekend. I have nothing to show yet, but they're in the works. So,
gotcha. Now, have you seen any cross pollination from the direct market into maybe some of your campaigns? Have you started seeing that going on yet?
Not yet, but I think when the one shot's released, that's when we are going to see it. You know, Exciting Comics 17, which has Niobe on the cover, done by Randy Green of Witchblade fame, by the way. That was a fucking bucket list. He was the guy that took over after Mike Turner. That was a big deal. We sold 850 copies of that. And that's sort of like, you know, through Diamond. That's not a lot, you know. Antarctic Press is not a big company. They've been around for a long time, but they don't sell in the hundreds of thousands, you know.
No.
But when we did Niobe Origins, that sold 23,000, not 23,000, 2,300.
Nice. That's a good number.
Right? So I think, you know, that's going to be a little bit more recognizable than buying the anthology comic, because it doesn't say Exciting Comics on the title. It will say Niobe. It'll be her on the cover. They're doing 3 different variants. So there's the Justin Hunt, Courtney Rose. And then if a comic shop orders 1 out of 20, and this is the first time they ever done an incentive cover, by the way, they'll get the Matt Weldon variant.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So 2,300 copies, we'll take it, you know. And I think that will help. You know, once people see that, there's going to be an ad for Outbreak in the back of the comic. You know what I mean? So they'll be aware of that. And, you know, it will put a few extra eyes on. Will it be gangbusters? Will it change my life night and day? Probably not. You know, but I think, you know, it certainly doesn't hurt to be on the show. You know,
no. I'm sorry, if it drives a couple hundred people towards your campaigns, that can make a big difference.
Yeah, or, you know, let's say they read Origins and they write in the Antarctic and say, man, this is cool. You know, when's the next one?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or it gets any kind of buzz. Listen, if I can't do Antarctic Press anymore, and I hope I can, because they're one of my favorite companies, but I'm not above like submitting the Image or going somewhere else too. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be published. I want to be in shops. You know, I want to do both though. Like, I want to be able to run my Kickstarters and I want to be on the shelf. That's sort of my goal in comics.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, for me, you know, it's funny. It's like for Oswald Chronicles, my end life of the series is on those shelves in comic shops, because I'm running them in black and white now, then I'm moving them into color, and then after color, then it's onto the shops.
And color is going to be night and day, dude. You know it, man. Like,
yeah, well,
it doubled our funding.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've gotten some stuff done. Like you said, it's very expensive. You know, when we were doing these things,
right?
Yeah,
look,
the color,
gorgeous.
You know, so I mean,
it's night and day.
Yeah, it really is.
It's an investment, right? And that's how some people. It is expensive, but it's an investment. If you got something that you think that's going to sell, and you know color is just going, it's like watching black and white TV and you watch something in color, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's some things that are like perfect in black and white.
Sure.
But they're far and few between. You know what I mean?
I bought comics in black and white, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being like the main example, you know, Mirage Studios back in the day. And it was awesome. It was dirty, it was gritty, it was dark. But they still look cool in color. You know, like,
well, a book for me that I would never, I don't even want to ever see it in color, is like a book like Faust, right?
Never read it.
You've never read it? Wow. Tim Vigil.
Yeah.
Pen and ink, his pen and ink work is so beautiful. Or even just you look at Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
Okay. Go check it out. Beautiful, beautiful work, man.
I mean, the black and white comics I read were Turtles, was like Usagi Yojimbo. Right. Even Ben Dunn's Ninja High School was like started out black and white, you know, stuff like that.
Gotcha. No. But yeah, but there's like
Cerebus from Dave Sim was black and white. That was another one I was reading.
That would look really weird, I think, in color, although I think interesting.
Well, the colors, you know, the covers were in color. So
yeah. But I'm just saying the interiors, especially if you got like a modern colorist,
But I mean, I'm from that old school. I was reading all that stuff.
Mhm. No, that's cool. All right, here, man. I got a challenge question for you, right? You're
Oh,
Canadian. You're
bring it
Canadian.
on, brother. Eh?
You're Canadian, right?
Right?
So, how good is Canadian bacon?
Well, I mean, I don't even know what Canadian bacon is. I know what bacon is. Like I have
Mhm.
eggs and bacon, and that's bacon. And then I know what ham is.
Right.
So I don't even know what you mean by Canadian bacon. Like,
Damn it! I've always heard about the famous Canadian bacon. That's why I'm
there's
like,
like back end
uh,
bacon.
all right.
I mean, I really don't know.
So how good is the other thing I've always heard about is
Poutine.
not poutine. Well, yeah, I've heard about poutine, but also is your maple syrup.
Maple syrup's cool, but I'm so used to it, like because it's here in abundance, right? So it's nothing special
Right.
to me, right?
Uh-huh.
It's expensive if you want the real stuff,
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
it's good. Um,
All
but
right.
I mean, like to me, it's here all the time, so it's not like a luxury, where like people in the States are like, send me down a bottle of maple syrup, like, what do you mean you don't got that shit down there? You don't got trees you can tap into,
No, no. We cut all those bitches down to make highways.
They just call
Um,
Canadian bacon bacon. That's true, brother. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess so. All right, cool. So we'll skip that. Um, do you want to pull up your campaign? I've been having a problem pulling them up.
oh yeah, I can pull
We
it
can
up.
run through it.
Yeah, yeah. I've ran through it so much. This is it's almost called a campaign fatigue, right?
Right.
Where you do it so much, it's like on repeat.
Hmm.
But this is the thing that I told Gage the Wolf, who's a new creator, like you just got to keep doing it,
Yeah.
because you got to act like even though you've done this 100 times, to someone this is their first time seeing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? To someone this is brand new.
Hmm. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've gotten to a point where if I'm not doing a campaign, I think I'm addicted to doing them. If I'm not doing a campaign, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I could be writing every day, editing, lettering, doing all kinds of other stuff, pulling in art, doing whatever, which is, part of my routine every day. But if I'm not doing a campaign, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I feel like I'm standing still or something. It's weird.
How many books do you do a year?
5 to 6.
Wow, that's a lot.
5 to 6. That's just on the Oswald Chronicles, and then with Daphne on Tall Tales, probably about 2 to 3.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a lot. I average maybe 1 or 2 a year.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things with me is like I only do the one title, right?
Right.
And it takes a while to sort of get the art done and get the coloring done and get all the pieces moving. I wish we could bang them out quicker, but reality is reality. It takes months to put together a comic book. Generally, I don't like to do anything Kickstarter wise until I feel like we're confident that we're actually going to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to be 100% complete. I just need to feel like everything's in motion and we're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we delay a little bit because of that,
I got you.
With the trade paperback, it's sort of a different story though, because everything's done. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We have 161 backers. It's 11 days left to go, and we've reached. My number is going to look a little bit different than your number on your end because my number is going to show it in my currency.
Right.
But we're $10,214 in Canadian duck bucks, Monopoly money, which is probably around $8,000 American.
Mm-hmm.
So not bad, I mean, we had a goal of 5,500. We've hit that. We've gone beyond that, and we still got 11 days left to go. What's interesting is if I was to show you the insides, there's a thing called followers.
Mm-hmm.
And I have over 400 and something followers that we need to convert. And what happens is like the last 2 or 3 days of a Kickstarter, that's usually when you see a lot of conversion. If anyone's going to come over and convert, it's going to be in the last couple of days. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there's still a boost yet to happen to this. Just like there'd be a boost, say, on your first couple of days. That's usually when you see, whoever was looking forward to it, right, was waiting for it, are going to jump on the first couple of days and they're going to back it right away. They're higher chords, they're diehards, they're going to be there.
Mhm.
And then you have like that couple of weeks where it's sort of like a dead period in the middle. You're lucky to get anyone jumping in. Sometimes you lose a backer, you know what I mean? So we're at that tail end now where this, we could definitely see a significant boost. But no matter how this goes, we're already happy with where it's at, because it's work that's already been done. And we're just sort of giving it to you in one volume so you can binge. Like a project like this is perfect for someone who's never read us before. They're going to get Birthright 1 and 2. They're going to get Origins. They're going to get what they need to know. They're going to get it in one shot. It's going to be something they're going to be able to put on the shelf. They're not floppies. It's going to be over 90 pages. It's going to be cool. For those who already have the floppies, what's interesting is that we've done 4 brand new covers for this, so and the one that you're sort of looking at here, which is the main image, that's a Kickstarter exclusive. If you don't get this through Kickstarter, you're not getting this at all, so it's cool. And we have lots of friends in the business. We've got new characters in this book, like Sybil right here, who's sort of like our Emma Frost, Jean Grey telepath type, you know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. This is gorgeous artwork. Who did the interior art for Birthright 1 and 2? Samir Sameo, colors by Dan Overa, showing that angelic character I was telling you about a little earlier, right? That's this sort of like abortion sort of storyline I was going through. Fern Cord, Mary Machine Gun, Max. You've talked to Max before, I'm sure, right? He lent those his artist. We did this cover. We did this cover here as well. This is cover B. Then we had Elsie Ferretes, and I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but here's a recommendation that came from Dan Overa. So he did a cover as well. And then we have our heavy hitter here, Greg Bo Watson, who's done work for Dynamite and Zenoscope.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right. And this is sort of like the Kickstarter limited edition exclusive. If you want this, this is the time. You know what I mean? And no one's ever seen what Niobe looks like on the inside. Here's some preview pages.
Nice.
What's going on? As you can see, they're like best friends here, JD. They get along. Like,
they get along,
right? You know what I mean?
Exactly. They're like bosom buddies.
And then some pages from Origins.
Cool.
This is done by a different artist, Juan Antonio, who's our ongoing artist now for Outbreak. So he'll do the 4 issues of Outbreak. It's going to be I love this like corner panel here, you know what I mean, with her and the hand out and the glow and the whole 9 here.
Yeah,
it's pretty badass, And then we're offering a 3rd printing of the very first Niobe. So if you want, how it started, the original black and white comic book. We don't have 1st or 2nd prints, but we do have a 3rd printing. So if you want to read it, you're able to do that. If you want floppies from the originals, we can do that as well. We have like the Steph Wilson combo pack. I think there's like 4 of these left. Nice. There's like 9 or 8 of these left out of 30 from like the Paul Green from Birthright number 2. Like I said, this is like what really shots up this cover right here. You know what I mean?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. It's stunning, right? We have combo packs for Origins. We have variants from Origins. Chris Enoch, he's doing lots of covers for Image right now. We have CB Zane. This is like an homage to J. Scott Campbell. And it's got CB Zane's Mighty Might on the cover. Niobe's little buddy here. We got a cover from Luigi Terrell of Rags fame. This is an homage to Adam Hughes' Catwoman 51.
Nice.
Famous mugshot, RB White. So we have lots of add-ons. We got some original art here that people can grab onto. Stretch goals. We've hit this stretch goal, so everyone's going to get this card. Everyone's going to get the Courtney Rose Dameron bookmark. Everyone's going to get the Niobe Chibi sticker here. Everyone's going to get the Sybil card from OG artist Steve Boyu. And, we're working towards this chibi right here. We can hit that, then we'll unlock the original Niobe trading card that we did way back in 2016. So anyone that doesn't have the original Niobe card, they'll be able to get that. Lots of notes on our creative team. Fill out your surveys. And just to show, I always feel it's important to put these sort of screenshots in of people who got in their packages to show that we do fulfill, B, we fulfill on time, and C, people are happy to receive their items and are excited to show them off,
Nice.
And we print with Comics Wellspring. And if you put their ad at the bottom of your campaign, they give you 15% off.
That's a good deal.
Especially when you're in Canada, because I'll tell you, the exchange rate's harsh.
Yeah. I could imagine. Jesus.
So that's the campaign. And then we're going to do brand new material right when that's done, and the cool thing about this is that, because all the work's been paid for other than, the covers that we had to do, other than printing and shipping, the rest is sort of pure profit. And we can take that profit and put it into the next book.
Nice.
Which means we got a slightly bigger budget, which means we can do some more things, and we just sort of, that sort of answers your question from a long time ago. It's like, how do we keep this growing? How do we keep this moving? That's it. You just sort of keep reinvesting in yourself. Like, I don't go out and splurge, what I mean? And spend all. No. We take the money that we get and we put it back into the project and we try and make the next book better, bigger, better. You know what I mean? Because it's like in wrestling. You're only as good as your last match. You know what I mean? And I look at it as like, we're only as good as our last sort of issue, and we want to keep people sort of interested, come back from. I take a lot of notes from guys like Brian Polito, Lady Death, Tom Hutchinson, who does Big Dog Inc., Dan Mendoza, guys who are really, even, Van Skyver, guys who are really successful in this business, and you watch what they do and you sort of pick apart things that are going to work for you and you try and make them, go ahead. That goes anywhere from who you're picking from your artists, how you're doing your Kickstarter design, how you're marketing yourself, what shows you go on, how you present it. And clearly I haven't perfected anything, but I'm trying to work on it. Right.
That's it. It's a work in progress.
This is it, brother.
All right,
and then we get published through Antarctic Press when we get to be in shops, and everyone gets, a chance to, if you can't afford $15 a book and $10 shipping, I get it. Sometimes buying a Kickstarter is almost like buying a luxury item. It's a premium, right? But you go to your local comic shop, spend $4.99 and grab the book off the shelf. No matter how you do it, we love you for it.
Yep. No, that's awesome. Yeah. No, it looks good. Listen, I'm looking forward to getting my book. That's all I know.
And I'm looking forward to getting 9 books. You know what I mean? Listen, we're running a show this Monday night. Why don't you come on and once again tell us about what's happening, and I'll back it live.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, I'll probably show up late because I'm getting out of work, and
I'll just send you the link, and you just jump on when you see it. You know what I mean?
All right, sounds good. So check it out, Larry. We've been at this for a little while. We're almost done, but we're not there just yet.
Oh, really? Right? I gotta pee. What's your last question?
No, it's a whole thing, bro. It's give me about 5 minutes. We'll run through it real quick.
All right.
Or do you want to just run to the bathroom and then run back?
No, I'm good.
All right, can you hold it? Can you make it? All right, cool. So I got a couple goofy questions. Well, before we even do that, tell everybody where they can find you and your work, sir.
Niobe Comic is, if you type that in a search, whether it's Facebook. I quit Twitter though, so don't look for me there. But Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Gotcha. All right. So we'll try to run through these as quickly as we can.
Sure.
It's a bunch of goofy questions I like to ask people.
Okay.
Normally, the question I asked, and we already answered it, is who would you want to get as a cover artist? We already talked about that. So we're not going to do
Jay
that.
Scott, hands down.
Okay. All right. So, but if you had a choice, not Jay Scott, if you had a choice to pick anyone, living or dead, to be your interior artist, who would you pick?
I can't take Jay Scott. All right. Michael Turner.
Okay. Fair enough. Good answer. I like
I mean,
that.
Michael Turner did a lot of interiors. If you read Witchblade, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, he did a lot of stuff on
Mhm.
Supergirl, Superman and Batman,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah. I mean, then you look at like his stuff with Aspen. It has to be Mike Turner. If I'm choosing between Living and Dead, you know what I mean?
Right, of course.
Another guy would be though like David Finch.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. I would, you know who I'd really like to see get a shot at your character? Adam Hughes. I think that would be
I know affordability, my brother. I mean, everyone I mentioned I couldn't afford anyway, but yeah, Adam Hughes would be like dynamite. Like he's
Yeah.
doing a lot of stuff right now with Black Widow and Marvel.
Hmm. Yeah, his stuff is incredible. All right. So next, if you got the big ticket, Larry, and they called you up to the big companies and they said,
Sure.
Larry, any IP, pick any IP. Which one would you want to do? And it have to be Marvel, Image, DC, doesn't matter. It could be anything. Any one of these companies.
Well, I mean, there'd be a few, but let's go with Marvel. If Marvel called, it'd have to be X-Men related. It would have, and if it was like carte blanche, I could do anything. I would say, give me Magic, and give me a 4-part miniseries, and I would do something really cool with Magic. But you can't edit me, you can't stifle me, you can't censor me, and that's why I'll never work for them, because as an independent, we're so used to sort of calling our own shots that I don't know if I can go any other way.
No, I got you. All right, I got a few comparators. We'll try to run through these real quick.
Sure.
All right. I was going to softball you with a couple questions I was ask everybody. With these. Batman, Captain America or Batman?
Batman.
Okay. Godzilla or Gamera?
Who?
Gamera?
I don't even know what that is. So Godzilla.
Okay, that's the flying turtle.
All
right. Ooh. Where is it? The Rock or Stone Cold?
Stone Cold.
Okay. Cool.
TA, motherfucker.
No, I got you. Frank Miller or Alan Moore?
Frank Miller. You can't beat The Dark Knight. I mean, as cool as The Watchmen is, The Dark Knight's the shit.
No, I got you. Pinhead or Freddy?
Freddy, because he's more comical.
Gotcha. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Star Wars, hands down. And I'll tell you why. That was the first movie I ever saw.
Ah, okay. I saw in the theater. Did you? I don't think you.
No, I didn't see it in theater, but I saw it on First Choice. Was kind of like the movie network was such a big thing back in the day. The very first movie I remember seeing in the theater was Empire Strikes Back, though, and I was 6.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was 7, I think, when I saw. No, I'm 7, 9, something like that.
And I've been a Star Wars fan ever since. I mean, new Star Wars, whatever, but you get what I mean. You know what I mean?
Naruto or One Piece?
Never seen either.
Okay, fair enough. You know, it's funny. I can say the same thing. I asked that damn question to all the weebs that sometimes come on.
They're just such long series, each of them.
Yeah.
Naruto, I know nothing about. One Piece, I've heard plenty about, but never watched either.
Gotcha. Fifth Element or Stargate?
Fifth Element. You can't beat Mila Djokovic. You know what I mean?
Yes. I know exactly what you mean. Yes. Kirk or Picard?
Oh, easy. Kirk, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because nothing beats being able to drink a bunch of booze, drop kick Klingons, and have sex with green alien women.
Okay.
Kirk's the man.
No, that's good. All right, check this out. Comic year, 1986 or 1991?
See, 86, I would have just been getting it. 1991 was sort of the boom. I've been full-fledged in then, right?
Right.
That's a hard one, because 86 was kind of, it's almost like watching WWE. It's like pre-Attitude Era or Attitude Era. It's kind of that same vibe. I'm going to say 91 because what happened in 91 really set the pace for everything else. We got stellar art. The comics were on the rise. You know, it was popular. It was cool. I mean, to the point where the bubble burst. But in 86 was sort of the lead into that, though. 86 would have been like the year I discovered Art Adams, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I think in terms of overall popularity and what really put it on the map for a lot of people would have been in the 90s.
Okay.
Wildcats, Image, you know, I mean, that came after 91, but I mean, that was the precursor. You know, you're talking about Todd McFarlane's Spawn, you're talking about Jim Lee's X-Men, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Yep. All right, cool. I'll ask you a couple more questions and then we'll wrap it up. Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair?
Hogan. Again, because he put wrestling on the map. You know, as famous as Ric Flair was, he never got the accolade that Hulk Hogan got. He never got that mainstream push, that MTV sort of push that Hogan got. Ric Flair is a guy who's still trying to live the gimmick to this day. Not that Hogan isn't, but you know, Ric Flair is sort of like, it's seeing Ric Flair now is almost like seeing Stan Lee in his later days. You know, like you kind of cool. It's cool to see him, but you almost feel like they need to stop. You know.
No, I got you. Dave Stevens. Are you familiar with him?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's not fair to ask the question.
Well, who's the other cat?
The other cat was Adam Hughes.
Adam Hughes.
Right.
I mean, it probably wouldn't even matter who you compared him to, because I'll tell you, Adam Hughes has his best covers were his Catwoman covers. There was a series of Catwoman covers he did with DC that was off the chart. We did an homage to one of them, you know,
right?
And they're all money books, every single one.
Yeah, I liked his. He was doing some stuff on Bill Willingham's. What was it? It was The Fairest. Those covers, some of those covers are just absolutely.
He's been around for a long, long time. You know, there's some very obscure Adam Hughes covers that are out there, but those Catwoman covers he did, like I think they were in the early 2000s, were just off the chart.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, cool. All right, so I'll hit you up with this last one then.
Sure.
Stanley or Jack Kirby?
They're different. One was a writer, one was an artist, but what an incredible team. You talk about Fantastic Four, you talk about the X-Men, you know. Jack Kirby was a guy who should have been rich and was never really rich, you know. Stan Lee got all the accolade where a lot of the artists didn't, you know, and it's not even just Jack Kirby. I mean, you got to throw Steve Ditko sort of into that list too, you know. Without Steve Ditko, there'd be no Spider-Man. Without Jack Kirby, you wouldn't have any of those famous Marvel properties that you got right now. And I think everyone knows this, you know, but what's sad is that it took this long to sort of give the artists sort of those accolades that they deserve. Had Jack Kirby be alive now and created all those fantastic characters and properties that we love that are almost like modern mythology in this day, he'd be a rich man, you know. Okay, but it took like the Image guys, honestly, to fight for royalties, to fight for you know, being paid for their creations, you know, to make creating something for Marvel DC worth it for them monetarily, as opposed to holding it on their own and doing something with it down the road later. And they're still fighting those battles. I mean, it's getting better, but they're still not getting what they deserve.
No. And you know, what's funny is Image was the guys who gave him his biggest paychecks.
Yeah.
You know, I forgot the names of the books, but they did a couple of books with him, and it was when we were selling millions of copies per issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's it, brother.
Big money. Yeah. All right, Larry, we made it to the end.
We did. It was awesome. I thank you very much for having me on, sir.
Yeah. Listen, man, it was great having you here. It was an honor. Please let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir. Niobe
Comic, man. That's what you're going to search on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. I left Twitter for my own sanity, and it's been great.
That's probably good for everybody. Elon is moving in, so it's gonna be his soon.
Well, if he takes over, I might reconsider. But we gotta see what happens there.
This is true. It'd probably just be him and a few people in the room, and that'll be it. So
I just got tired with arguing with people. That's all.
No, I go there. I promote stuff. I don't even. A person talks to me. You'll be lucky if you get an answer back from me. I'll be like, hey, okay, yeah, talk to me on Facebook where I can see your real name. Yeah, I don't like the anonymity personally. But that's a whole other subject. Anyway, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for being here. Please hit like, subscribe, share the video. On Monday, go check it out. Go check out Mr. Larry Higgins show. I'll be on there, and we'll be talking everything comics.
Around, 8 or 9 Eastern, that range. You know what I mean? I don't got an exact time, but we'll figure it out.
All right, sounds good, brother.
All right, peace out, brother.
All right, take it easy. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.